Hey y'all, happy Sunday. So today we're going to talk about another doozy, strongholds. Okay, now the definition is very, very huge. And I'm going to say the whole definition because it's going to be really, really important in our talk today. So, stronghold, it is a fortress, a place of safety or of protection where it's protecting something, hiding something to protect it. It could also be a place where a particular cause or belief is strongly defended or upheld. Okay. It can also be an intentional block, like a spiritual block, if you will, on the inside, internal. Okay. It can also be deception of reasoning or lies disguised as truth. Now, it could be all of these things, indicating that a stronghold could be both positive and negative, which most things in our life can be positive and negative, right? But if we think about it, there's a lot of scriptures in the Bible that talk about God being our stronghold, that God is the one that's going to be protecting us and keeping us and hiding us and, all of that. And that is the truth. God could definitely be your stronghold. But today, we're going to be talking about some other things in the world that has taken his place, that has taken over as a stronghold in your life. Now, last video, we talked about cycles. And even in those cycles, we also talked about the good and the bad of cycles, where, like the seasons changing, that's also a cycle. We have cycles of life, right? Those are positive things that just happens. It's just a part of life, right? But then there are other cycles that we repeat because we didn't learn the lesson. That's what we talked about last week. Well, this week, here is the statement for you that's going to connect that to the last talk. Reoccurring cycles is an indicator of a stronghold. I repeat, reoccurring cycles is an indicator of strongholds in your life. Okay. So if you think back of the cycles that you're having, that you keep repeating in life, the lesson that you're not learning, it's also an indicator that there's a stronghold on the inside of you that's holding you up. Now, here's another way where you can look at strongholds. Number one, what you have a constant struggle with, there's a stronghold there. Okay. What you have like unhealthy habits or something like that, and you having a hard time breaking it, that is also a stronghold. And the next question would be, what is the root? I'm a root person. So let's just use addictions, for instance, whether it's addictions to food, drink, or drugs, right? You think about addictions. Addictions literally is like an outlet. It could be medication, if you will. It could be that thing that you go to hide, that thing that you go to escape, right? But even though it has a hold on you, the stronghold itself is not the addiction, okay? The stronghold itself is a symptom of the root cause. And a lot of times, because that particular hold has you, right? And you're struggling so hard with that, like I said, drugs, alcohol, food, whatever, womanizing, whatever you call it, like sex. Those things will cause you not to get to the root of things because you're busy still battling that, right? The thing that you went to escape. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth, right? A lot of times with these strongholds, it's so hidden within us, so hidden deep down within us that we never really get to, okay, what's really the problem? Because we put other stuff on top of it, okay? But I want you to think about, what is that one thing I'm struggling with in my life all the time? Like, what is it? I'm sure you could come up with at least 2 or 3 things. That's the start to find out what your stronghold is, what the root cause of your stronghold is, okay? Now, as I was putting together this talk, of course, I do a little bit of research so I can give not only my own thoughts, not only God's thoughts, but I also, want to give you a little bit of feedback, right? A little bit of knowledge. When I looked up strongholds, there's a lot of information here, but it boils down to the 7 deadly sins. Check this out. Places where you may have a stronghold. Heaviness, which would be depression, grief, hopelessness. Okay. Now, if you have heaviness in you, that's definitely depressive symptoms. Okay. Which means that's a mental health concern. All right. Jealousy. When you think about jealousy, there's envy, you got bitterness, you got anger, all of that when you're jealous of someone. Okay. Lying. Of course, there's deception, there's manipulation, and even gossip. Okay. Now, you think about fear. Of course, another mental health concern, anxiety. It causes anxiety. It causes doubt, stress, worry, and even horror. Like you can be in a situation, maybe a car accident or something like that, and it shakes you up so much that you fear. It could be the sound of somebody hitting their brakes. It could cause trauma for you, right? Okay. Perversion. You know, self-control issues, you're not able to keep it in your pants, it's just hot like fire, you have sexual immorality, listen, it controls a lot of people, unfortunately. Okay, death. So suicide ideation. And suicide ideation means that you have those thoughts like, I don't want to be here today. I could just leave right now. Nobody would know. And a lot of us have those thoughts. We kind of shake it off like, oh, it's no big thing. But if you have those thoughts, remember, 911 is your friend. 988, you can text. There's somebody that will text you and talk to you if you're having those thoughts. But understand, we've all had some form of suicide ideation, even if it was for a split moment. But that's how the enemy get in there. Okay, so just remember that. Bondage. Bondage, of course, is like abuse and addictions, all right? Haughtiness, and that is like arrogance, pride, self-righteousness, being really controlling. And a lot of us carry that one. Let's not fake it, okay? Poverty mindset. Now, the thing is, you can have this poverty mindset and be focused solely on your finances, right? You can be, oh, I have to have this. If I don't have this, like you having this a little bit of poverty in your life can force you to just live out somebody else's dream, not even your own, because you're so focused on the money piece or so focused on things in your life that it becomes an idol. Okay. All right. Error. And the error is like the error in your thinking. So like you can be discontent. All right. You could be defensive all the time. So if somebody's trying to tell you something that's helpful to you, you can't accept it. You're defensive. You're like, I don't want to hear that crap, whatever. Even if you know the person is telling you the truth. Now, all of these things fit into the 7 deadly sins. Lust. We already talked about it with the perversion, right? Gluttony. Gluttony is really food and drink, like you're overly eating and drinking, but it does have a correlation to addictions because it is some form of addiction. Okay. Then you got greed. Greed, that's the poverty mindset where you're like, oh, I have to hoard all the money. I have to hoard all the things. I got to hoard everything I can. And you're not a person that's very giving. You're trying to take it all for yourself, right? Sloth, that's when you just lazy as hell. You ain't trying to do anything. It's like, listen, I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. And again, these things could be also a part of mental health concerns, right? Then you got wrath. That's when you're pissed off and you're very upset and you ready to go in. Sometimes the person don't have to do anything. They could just look at you and you just ready to go. You just ready to pop off, right? And then you have envy. You know what that is, right? And then you have pride. Oh, that pride, right? And pride could be anything. It could be pride to not accept help. Some of us are like that, where we'll give to other people, but to get something from them, oh no, I don't need your help. Okay. And they're not exactly saying that, not even necessarily thinking that. But in the case where they're givers, right? They're like, no, I'm supposed to give to you. I'm not supposed to take. Okay. But that's still a little bit of pride. Now, all of these things, all of these strongholds are related to the 7 deadly sins. And so we got to ask ourselves, okay, where is the wound? Where is the wound where the enemy done got in there and messed with me? Most of these things, most of these wounds, I'm gonna give you an example. This is a bad one, but it is what it is. It does happen in our families, especially people of color, where some uncle or something done touched you, right? And the family knows about it and tell you to keep it quiet. That becomes a wound that the enemy can go in there and put something in there. Oh, see there? You're not even worthy of the family protecting you. See there, you're not worthy of love. You just, you're useless. That's the reason why he was touching on you. Or you're not special. You're not this. The enemy can pour all of those things inside of you through that wound. And that is how these strongholds take hold of our lives. The enemy is not always loud and obnoxious. Most of the time he quiet. He doing stuff undercover. And a lot of times you think you're doing the right thing by yourself. You think you're making the right decisions for yourself when actually you are really operating off the stronghold. So I just want you all to just think about, like, what kind of decisions are you making out of fear, out of frustration, out of envy? What kind of decisions are you making in your life that's going to cause you to be in a worse state? Okay? Because here's the thing. If God is not your stronghold and something else is, you got to go down there into those places that are very heavy, that are very deep and very hurtful. And you have to dig that up. And you have to pour in that the love of God. You have to pour into that the love of self. You have to build yourself up in a way that maybe people in your past weren't able to. Okay. Now, the verse for today is 2 Corinthians 10th chapter, 3rd through the 5th verse. And it goes, "For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal," meaning they're not the flesh, "but mighty in God for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, brings every thought into captivity to the obedience of God." So what's saying here is we're not fighting a physical battle. It is a mental battle. And I've said before that there's a correlation between our spirituality and our mental health. It all starts right here. So I want to encourage you all to look into your mental health. Are you healthy up here? Because if you're not healthy up here, you may not be healthy spiritually as well. And again, that's okay. This is just an opportunity to do a checkup from the neck up, if you will. All right. Check in. See where you need some support, because there might be a seed deep down in there that needs your attention and needs to be pulled up. Now today, the song for you is "Break Every Chain." There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name of Jesus to break every chain, 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 break every chain. God is here to break every single chain. Any stronghold that's holding you back, he is here to help you loose it. Don't be afraid to dig. Dig up that wound, dig up that seed, pluck it out, and allow God to pour into you the things that he thinks about you and that he feels about you. Okay? I love y'all. Blessings on your day. Sorry this was a long one, but I really wanted to make sure you got the lesson. All right, my dears. Bye.